Hello everybody, we are doing another Victoria 2 A to Z, and today we are playing Baden. Baden is right here, it's next to Bavaria, and it's one of the roadblocks to forming Germany. But I think that we are very strong. We will be able to do a lot, just trust me. See, I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. So we're going to take over all of these minor nations right here. Austria is going to help us against Prussia, so that all of these cavaliers, so they're going to take their horses and they're going to go and take Berlin, so we won't have to worry about them. After that, we are going to pry these two from Prussia's grasp, and we're going to annex them, something like this. After that, we are going to attack Bavaria. We're going to go and take Munich. Nom. See that? See that? It's a thick border, very strong. After that, we slowly but surely eat Prussia until we have all of Germany. That is when we do the second part of this, which is the anti-Russian alliance. And basically, the combined peoples of Austria and Baden will create a wall to keep the gay people of Russia out. And we're just going to be very strong. We're actually going to take over Moldavia even, and Ukraine. And you know what? Eventually, we keep on fighting Russia until we get to about here. And no more Russians will have to worry us. All the gay people will be pushed over to that side, and we'll be fine, and we'll be Germany. And we're going to be able to take over Moscow. It's really a great plan. We'll be able to do it, and it'll be wonderful. And it'll actually be a lot easier than you might think. There's only one factor we haven't accounted for. France is going to destroy all of us. That's what I'm saying there. But in any case, let's get straight into it. Or maybe we try to free this puppet. Alright, we're going to try to release the puppet, see how that works. It all depends on whether or not Austria wants to help us against Prussia. This whole thing hinges on that. So, does Austria join? They will join, actually. I think that Austria is strong enough to attack them. Just at the start. We're going to mobilize. They did not. They said that they would, though. Okay. I probably should have saved before we declared on them. I lost all of our very important battle plans. Alright, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I don't think Baden is a viable nation to play. So we're starting from square one once again. I have an idea. Basically, because we're playing a nation that was never meant to be played, I just did a couple of things to make it easier for us. I released Alsace-Lorraine, as well as made Austria give up their sphere on Württemberg so we could declare on them. As it turns out, though, by tagging into both Austria and France, I managed to make both AIs brain dead. Thus, even though I was allied to both Bavaria and Austria, Bavaria didn't join, and Austria couldn't move any of its units. So I lost to Württemberg. Great start. We are going to have to resign. We obviously weren't prepared for this. So eventually I just had to manually move Austria's army by tagging into them. So that's how that happened. Oh, France is friendly here. This could be an issue. Also, Austria, are you okay? Oh, and now we're at war with France. Wonderful. Although they're not doing anything, it seems. Since I had tagged into France to release Alsace, the same bug happened to the French AI too, so they didn't move any of their old big stacks. They only moved their mobilized new stacks that came up that they created after I had tagged into them. The problem was they didn't feel very threatened, and so they didn't mobilize until I had sieged down half of their country. So that was something. They have an army. They're just not going to use it. Remember when the Baden troops were able to just go to Marseille? Uh-oh, they're starting to mobilize. That's not good. Oh, okay, there we go. Nice! We have white peace with them. Now we can go back home and enjoy our 1 million pops. What? So I'm supposing because France joined into that, and they were brain dead and we were able to piece them out, we got a load of prestige, and now we're a great power. I didn't add prestige or anything to myself. This is Baden. I mean, I guess we did make France brain dead and won against them, but Although I do have to say, it actually does look good on the Great Powers map mode. It's a pretty nice color. Ooh, Belgium's on our side. I don't really know what to use all of my focus points for. Oh nice, we are no longer in the sphere of influence of Austria. You couldn't do Baden? Or Bavaria rather, I guess we are Baden. We are a great power again, okay. Just like, okay, they immediately banned us. Great, Persia. I mean, Prussia. Basically, we're gonna try to take over Bavaria. For hours I played with no territorial expansion, just to try to get Bavaria into our sphere. If I got Bavaria into our sphere, I could form the South German Confederation, which would be a lot stronger than Baden. Of course, we'd need that one province minor that is North Germany's puppet, but I was just gonna cheat that to myself. It really wasn't worth ruining the game just because we couldn't beat the North Germans. I was intent on getting Bavaria legitimately. And finally, the end was in sight. We needed 3 more influence. 3 more influence, and we could finally take them out of North Germany's sphere. Once they were out of their sphere, we could do pretty much anything. Which is to say, we'd be able to sphere Bavaria. Because we got influence faster than North Germany, and they couldn't do anything about it anymore. But literally seconds before... You gotta be kidding me, what did they declare for? They want us to humiliate us. We are not gonna do that, we have no white peace. That's all we're doing. We got no prestige or anything from that. The reason I forced a white peace was because if we lost, and we lost our great power status, it would mean that we couldn't form South Germany. The game would be effectively ruined. So I decided that this was a situation where it made sense to cheat to get out of it. But what this meant was that I had a truce with Bavaria. You can't influence nations that you have a truce with. So what this meant was that I lost everything. They expelled my advisors, and all of that influence that I took, that took decades of in-game time to acquire, all lost. Yeah, you can already see what I started doing. I was not going to take that. I decided to just go on with the game and act as though they hadn't declared war on me, and thus, you know, just eat everything. Not exactly the most honorable thing to do, but I'm playing Baden. What do you want from me? Hey, would you look at that? Bavaria just decided to give Baden their whole country. Oh, what can we do here? We can click a button that makes us into something else. Would you look at that? That is disgusting. We're the South German Federation now. And there we go, Russia's on our side. There you go. Yeah, I'll recognize the Confederacy. Oh, Nebraska. Oh. Our one sphereling, Belgium, became a great power at the expense of Ottomans? I guess we're allied to do 2 great powers now. North Germany had declared on me to admit hegemony for some reason, even though there aren't any more minor German nations. Basically, they just wanted to take my prestige. They were allied to the Ottomans and Britain, which was a complete, perfect counter to my allies. Remember, my only allies were Belgium and Russia. It was a pretty easy plan of attack for the North Germans. Although we had them on 3 sides, they simply had the stronger allies. Belgium would easily get invaded and knocked out by the British, especially if I didn't help defend their coastline, which I didn't. Also, the Russians, well, their AI just kind of sucks, and since it was split into 2 on the Ottoman front and the North German front, they really just had no shot either. We had to rush the North Germans. Luckily, that was actually pretty easy at first, but once they started mobilizing, they just got so many more people than me. We may have been a confederation now, but we still had so much less population than the North German Federation. Even with Alsace, they could just mobilize an army magnitudes bigger than ours. I mean, literally, they really had that many people compared to us. So eventually, we just had to give in. They got Belgium. We lost. I knew that if we just stayed how we were, that we'd be an easy target for North Germany. So I resolved to take Tyrol from Austria-Hungary. It's filled with South Germans. They were allied to the Ottomans and the French. Didn't go well. The French didn't join, so leaving our border was a big deal of that, but Russia got truce blocked because apparently they had a truce with the Ottomans. And though we had some early gains in the mountains, they just simply also had more population than us. This is really a problem with South Germany in general. It just doesn't have as much population as really any of its neighbors. So, in a multiplayer game it might be fun, but you simply just can't. You just don't have enough people to. You just don't have enough people to really compete all that well. We have no more armies. They stacked quite less entirely. This is all your fault, Russia. Why didn't you join in before the Ottomans could? Oh, this is why. Oh, we actually found the source of the Nile. This is the first time I've actually ever gotten this event in HPM. What shall we name it? Lake Victoria. Oh, we can't name it anything. Our king would be satisfied with the name Lake Victoria. He was always a simp for that queen. Of course, it was only a matter of time before North Germany declared war on us once more. But we were in a much better position this time. They didn't have the Ottomans on their side, and we had both Serbia and Italy as new allies without losing any old ones. I immediately went to protect the Belgian coasts, because that was the mistake I made last time, but I took too long and the British got there. I initially wanted to protect the fort line that I had built, but the problem was we simply didn't have enough troops to defend the whole line, so I had to go on the offensive. Luckily, all of North Germany's real forces were busy fighting the Russians, while we just had small mobilized stacks. And our new allies were doing wonders. Except for Italy. Italy was eating rocks. But eventually the same thing happened, we just got swamped by more and more North German forces. We just couldn't keep it up. Eventually, I realized that if we kept on going with this war, we'd just end up weaker and weaker because of it. We couldn't keep on fighting their mobilized stacks. And so we had to get humiliated. But I was forming a new strategy on how to deal with North Germany. As you can see, we're now kind of surrounding them. Holy crap, 1 second. They're not allied to anyone. Now's the chance. Our chance at revenge came only 6 years later. All of our allies joined, and Germany had none. There was only one problem. Where the heck is Russia's army? Did we win? I think we won. We won! Oh, Luxembourg's in our spear. I guess that's what that does, huh? Alright, we're not going to take Tyrol because that'd make us an enemy of Austria-Hungary. We're going to try to solely stay an enemy of North Germany because they're just that strong. Especially now that they have the UK again. All of the great powers met in our capital to decide the fate of Africa, where it's decided that the scramble of Africa would soon take place. Of course, this was kind of useless to me as we didn't have a port, but it was pretty fun as we were able to watch French armies try to protect Tunis and get staff wiped by the North Germans. We didn't have many options on how to expand still. I could try to take Tyrol again, but that would make Austria-Hungary a permanent enemy of us, and really we were struggling even as it was. Our main enemy was, and would always be, North Germany, so I decided that we had to cripple them by trying to free the Rhineland as its own independent state. Allied of Denmark and Norway, now is the time to strike. Okay, so Luxembourg is under our sphere. This is us. They want us to help secretly break them apart from us again. Yeah, I'm gonna say no. We got our casus belli and we're ready to really destroy North Germany. Now is the time to strike. They had pretty much no allies and we still had everyone. Besides maybe Italy. I forgot whether or not we had Italy. But there was one problem. As I was pre-mobilizing to take them out and be able to do an actual defensive line for once, a freaking crisis came out of nowhere between France and Britain for the Solomon Islands. The Solomon freaking Islands. So that normally this wouldn't be a big problem, right? The thing is, as a great power, you can't declare war when there's a crisis. So I had to wait for the crisis to end before I was able to use my casus belli to free the Rhinish peoples. And that was great. But, I mean, I'd have the whole casus belli for a year. It would be fine, right? It's not like there'd be a war over the Solomon Islands, right? I guess we're gonna hope that Austria's a bit of a bumper, eh? It certainly wasn't ideal, but it was gonna have to work. Every single great power against Britain and Germany, and we were absolutely steamrolling Germany. For once, we were doing pretty well. We were able to add our Rhineland casus belli eventually, and look how far we got into Germany. We were even taking Berlin. There was no chance we could lose this time. As it turns out, against France, Austria, Russia, and South Germany, North Germany ain't so tough now. And we were absolutely slaughtering them on droves. You see, our first few wars against North Germany, we had terrible mil-tech. However, after the First War, I almost entirely focused on military techs, and we literally had the best techs we could have for that time period. The North Germans' military supremacy was no more. We just had to wait for the victory screen. You didn't free the Rhineland? Why didn't you free the freaking Rhineland? I thought that France had forgotten our gracious contributions and had forgotten to free the Rhineland. But after doing a little bit more of an investigating, I realized that we had lost. I don't know how, but somehow Britain got enough war score on France to capitulate them and take the Great Solomon Islands. Or maybe the French Prime Minister grew a brain and realized that it wasn't freaking worth it in the first place. Either way, my morale was shot. I'm done with this game. It's midnight. It's actually 1 o'clock. You know what? I'm done. I'm done. This is stupid.